Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And let's just get right into this review. So at the very beginning of this episode, Natalie ends up going to brunch with Jaden and Arkbar, and they start talking about how Jaden got her baddies chain at the end of last week's episode. And I know there's a lot of people saying that Jaden shouldn't have gotten her baddies chain because she hasn't done anything to earn it, and look, I completely agree with all of that. However, I'm not surprised that she ended up getting a baddies chain because she's a more known person on this season, and of course they're going to give it to somebody that they consider famous. So that's why I'm not really harping on the fact that she ended up getting it, because it just was not surprising to me. Now obviously they start talking about Biggie because both Jaden and Akbar ended up getting into it with Biggie in last week's episode, and look, I definitely will say Biggie definitely does talk a lot of shit for somebody who doesn't want to fight. However, if she wants to talk shit and not fight, then I don't think it's for anybody to jump down her throat and tell her that she needs to defend herself, especially because there's been other people this season who have rejected fighting people. So I really don't think that it's that big of a deal the way that they're making it out to be. Just like I didn't think it was a big deal a few seasons ago when Smiley didn't want to fight and people were telling her that she needed to. I just really didn't think it was that big of a deal. Now, Arkbar was saying that she feels like Biggie was jealous of her because the other girls were embracing her a lot more, and Biggie was upset about that, and I don't agree. I don't think that Biggie is jealous of Arkbar. I don't feel like there's anything to be jealous of. I'm not shitting on Arkbar. I just don't feel like there's anything for Biggie to be jealous of. I will say that she was being salty on the bus when a couple of people said that they felt like Arkbar was the best rapper on the show. However, other than that, I don't think that there was any jealousy there. Now, Natalie ends up deciding to contact the other girls and tell them that they need to meet up with her, Akbar, and Jaden because she wants to talk. And we all know that when she says that she wants everybody to get together to talk, we know that she wants everybody to fight. However, there was a little bit of twist with this message that she sent to the other girls because she excluded a lot of the other girls from coming to this little get-together. Because before the message was sent to the other girls, Rolly and Tinkerbella were having a conversation about Biggie not defending herself because they both agree that she should be, even though I don't know how that affects them. If she doesn't defend herself, it just makes her look bad. If somebody swings on her the way that she got swung on at the reunion and she just sits there and doesn't do anything, that makes her look bad. It doesn't affect any of them, so I just don't know why they're talking about it. But while they're having this conversation, Biggie and Diamond actually end up walking into the room and they end up telling her everything that they were just saying about her. And Rolly ends up telling Biggie that if she's still grieving the loss of her boyfriend, then she probably shouldn't have came on the show and she should probably take some time to grieve so that she can come back and be able to handle things the way that she should be. But Biggie claims that she's able to handle things. She just doesn't understand why, Arkbar has been jumping down her throat. Now, I personally do agree that if she's still grieving, I feel like she shouldn't have came on the show this season. I feel like she should have just took some time to herself, but she came on the show anyway, so I just don't feel like that's a necessary conversation that they should be having. But during this conversation, Rolly ends up getting a message from Natalie telling her, Tinkerbella, and Diamond the Body to come meet her for brunch with Arkbar and Jaden, and so they tell Biggie that her name was not on the list, and Biggie acted like she did not care about it. However, she definitely did care, and she was offended that she wasn't invited because she ends up bringing this up later on in the episode. Now, I think it was messed up that she was not invited because I just feel like if Natalie doesn't like Biggie, then she should stop casting her for the show. Instead of constantly excluding Biggie from things that the OGs are doing, she already excluded her from the OG house and put her in the house with the new girls, and now she's not inviting her to a brunch that all the other OGs are going to be at. So to me, I just feel like Natalie's being petty. So Pretty P, Ivory, and Jasmine end up having a quick conversation with each other about what went down in the previous episode, and Ivory had a difference of opinion from a lot of the fans about the whole Biggie, Jaden, and Arkbar situation in last week's episode, because in this episode, Ivory was telling Pretty P and Jasmine that she felt like Biggie should have had the energy that she had for Jaden for Arkbar, because Arkbar has been the one that she's been going back and forth with for a few episodes now. But I know a lot of people feel differently about this situation because Arkbar did not put her hands on Biggie at all, but Jaden ended up throwing flowers in Biggie's face, so that's the reason why Biggie ended up fighting Jaden. Although to me it was not a fight because I watched it in slow motion 3 times, okay, and it was not a fight. They barely touched each other. Jaden and Biggie barely touched each other. Biggie had her head down, Jaden was barely doing anything, and security got in the way and they were basically hitting security's arms, and security is the one that actually ended up tripping Jaden on the floor, and that's how she fell. So to me, that wasn't even a fight, that was more of a scuffle. scuffle. As far as the whole Biggie and Arkbar situation goes, neither one of them are gonna swing on each other, so I just feel like they should just stop going back and forth with one another because I'm bored with that situation at this point. Now, while they were having this conversation, Jasmine actually gets pulled aside and told that she gets to go meet with the other girls at a restaurant, and Ivory definitely felt some type of way about this because she felt like she just got her baddies chain, so why was she not invited to this meetup? And I honestly don't know why she wasn't invited. Pretty P wasn't invited either, so I don't know why Natalie decided to exclude certain people from this situation. Now, Emma, Summer, Dolly, and Lex are all in the kitchen having a conversation, and basically Summer decides that she wants to start trouble, and she decides to go at Emma, and she starts calling Emma boring and going back and forth about this with her. And look, I don't necessarily feel bad for Emma because she came at Scotty for no reason, calling her boring, and now everybody on the show is starting to say that she's boring because she really hasn't been doing much either. So I don't necessarily feel bad for her because if you can dish it, you can take it. However, I feel like Summer is just a really big troublemaker. I know that people like her because she does have funny moments, but her walking around just starting trouble with people for no reason is starting to get a little bit old to me. So Emma kind of starts talking about getting ready to put her hands on Summer, and that's when Dolly ends up jumping in and telling Emma that nobody's going to touch Summer and that Summer can say and do whatever she wants to anybody and she's not going to let anybody touch Summer. And for that, I'm looking at Dolly a little bit sideways because Summer does not have the right to go at people all she wants to and nobody can do anything to her. I just don't like that because now she's acting like she's Summer's bodyguard, and I really don't know where this came from because I'm pretty sure they didn't know each other before this show. And because I know, and we all know, that Dolly made up that beef with Anna and that they were getting ready to fake fight so that Dolly wouldn't get sent home because she was being kind of boring the first few episodes, now it's making me wonder if she's latching on to Summer because Summer's getting all the camera time and she's getting a lot of attention, and now she wants to make sure she doesn't fall into the background, so now she's latching on to Summer. I'm not saying that she doesn't genuinely like Summer, but it's just weird to me that all of a sudden she has Summer's back like this and she's not going to let anybody touch her, and if anybody wants to fight Summer, they have to go through her. I'm not saying I don't like Dolly, I just don't think that it's right that every time somebody gets into it with Summer, she has to jump in and do the fighting for her. It's like she wants to put the attention on herself. That's what it looks like to me, and I'm only saying this because we know that the fight between her and Anna was fake, that she planned this with Anna because she didn't want to fall into the background. Now, I know in this episode they were trying to highlight the friendship between Summer, Dolly, and Lex, and look, I think it's good that they're all cool with each other and they were able to form a bond. However, I don't really like the clique stuff. I think it's okay to be cool with people, but I think everybody should be standing on their own, and Lex can stand on her own. We already saw that she can defend herself by herself, she can stand by herself, so I just don't want her to get clicked up with people like that. Like, she can stand by herself. And while Emma and Summer are going back and forth with each other, Rolly ends up walking into the room and she pulls Lex away because Lex is one of the people that Natalie said can come meet up with all of them for the brunch, and so she ends up leaving with Rolly. And so Ivory ends up walking into the room and she sees Emma arguing with Dolly and Summer, and she tells them that if they're going to keep arguing with each other, they might as well fight. So Emma and Summer both stand up and they're walking towards each other. And as Emma is walking towards Summer, all of a sudden Dolly takes her hand and she swipes it across Emma's neck. Like, it looked like she was trying to attempt to grab Emma by the neck to get her away from Summer. And so the two of them start looking at each other like they're about to fight, and all of a sudden they start swinging on each other and they start fighting. So security is over there trying to break up the fight between Emma and Dolly, which we didn't see the fight because security was completely in the way. But while the two of them are trying to fight each other, all of a sudden Summer tries to reach over and start swinging on Emma while Dolly is fighting her. So Ivory grabs Summer by her hair. She snatches up Summer really quick by her hair and drags her away, telling her that she's not jumping anybody, which, listen, I'm not a big fan of Ivory so far, but I do like that she stood on business in that situation because nobody's about to sit there and watch somebody get jumped. So I was glad that she snatched up Summer. However, I think that Summer's a little bit scared of Ivory because if that was anybody else that would have grabbed Summer by her hair and dragged her like that, she definitely would have started swinging on them. But because it was Ivory, she didn't do it. And I'm surprised that she let her grab her by her hair like that and she did nothing. So once security breaks up the fight between Dolly and Emma, Emma starts charging over to where Summer is at and she starts swinging on Summer. The fight only lasts like a couple of seconds and they were barely able to touch each other because security was grabbing Emma away. Now, I think that they should have let Emma fight Summer because Summer was trying to jump the girl. So I was confused why they would not let the two of them fight. But then Emma started saying that she needs something for her finger because she hurt her finger initially at the beginning of the season when she was fighting Scotty. And now she hurt it worse after fighting fighting Dolly, but she's saying that she can't keep fighting because she's gonna really mess up her finger too much. And so Dolly still wants to fight Emma. She still wants to fight her, even though the girl's saying that she doesn't want to fight because her finger's fucked up. And I think it's funny how Dolly and Summer kept going on and on about how Emma let Ivory put a battery in her back. But the thing about it is that to me, I heard Emma say something about fighting Summer before Ivory ever even walked into the room. And Dolly immediately told her that nobody's gonna touch Summer and that she can do and say whatever she wants to anybody and nobody can touch her. So she was already talking about putting her hands on Summer. She did jump up when Ivory came, but still, I just don't think that Ivory put the battery in her back. I just don't think so. But I want to know why Dolly has all this energy for Emma, who did nothing to her, but she doesn't have this energy for Tasiki, because I know that people were in my comment section on that episode where Dolly and Tasiki fought, and people were saying that Dolly's not afraid of Tasiki and that she was keeping up with Tasiki and hitting Tasiki all in her face and head. But we haven't seen her go after Tasiki since we saw her fight Pretty P that day, and now we're seeing her go after Emma. But I want to see if when she gets into the same room with Tasiki, she's going to have that energy with Tasiki. That's what I want to see, because Tasiki put her hands on the girl. They did fight a little bit, but she said that she would fight her again, and I want to see her do it. Because the thing about it is that she's fighting Summer's battles as if she doesn't have a battle to fight her damn self. Like, that's just weird to me. Like, I don't dislike Dolly, but I'm starting not to really like her that much because of the way that she was acting in this episode. Now, all the girls who were invited ended up showing up to the restaurant to meet with Natalie, Jaden, and Arkbar, and Natalie announces to everybody at the restaurant that she got a text message from Biggie going off on her for not inviting her to the gathering. And she basically said that the reason why she did not invite Biggie is because she feels like Biggie needs to take a breather after everything that happened in last week's episode. And look, I just feel like Natalie's making excuses. She just wants to make sure that Biggie knows that she can be excluded at any time she wants her to, because she has a problem with Biggie, because Biggie does talk to Natalie crazy sometimes, and maybe that's why Natalie doesn't like her. But still, Natalie is definitely being petty with this whole Biggie situation. However, I think it was dumb for Biggie to tell the other girls that she didn't care about not being invited and then text Natalie complaining about not being invited. But then Arkbar ends up confronting Diamond the Body, which I was confused about because I didn't know that they had an issue with each other. But Arkbar said that when they were on the bus and Biggie was going off about the fact that people were saying that Arkbar was the best rapper on the show, that she felt like Diamond the Body was the one putting a battery in Biggie's back, which I didn't see that, but maybe that did happen and I just wasn't paying attention for a second. But Diamond made it very clear to Arkbar and everybody else that she did not put a battery in Biggie's back and that Biggie already had a battery in her back. She just charged it for her. And I'm sorry, I was cackling when she said that because Diamond the Body is funny, okay? She's not always right in things that she does on the show, and she can get a little bit annoying sometimes, but this girl is hilarious. Like, she is great for reality TV. But Arkbar gets mad about this, and she starts saying that she doesn't like people who act like Diamond the Body because she's the type of person who, if she has a problem with somebody, instead of addressing it herself with the person, she'll amp up somebody else to do it. I don't think that that's what happened with this situation with Biggie. I think that Biggie was going to be upset anyway that people were saying that Arkbar was a better rapper because she got in her feelings about it before Diamond the Body even said anything to her. However, I didn't know that this beef existed between her and Diamond the Body. Now, Diamond tells Arkbar that the reason why she has an issue with her is because when Arkbar performed, she ended up giving her a compliment on her performance, and instead of saying thank you, Arkbar said that she's a professional and that's why she did well. And so obviously Diamond the Body took that wrong. I mean, anybody would probably take that the wrong way, but I wouldn't take it the wrong way enough to be upset with somebody about that because I could care less. But I guess Diamond the Body felt some type of way about it because she feels like, you know, Arkbar thinks she's better than everybody else on the show, which Anna ended up clarifying to Arkbar that that's what Diamond the Body is trying to say to her, is that Arkbar walks around thinking that she's above all the other girls on the show. And that's crazy that she feels that way because to me, she's not more famous than the other girls on the show. Like, yes, she was on Love and Hip Hop, but we barely know who she is. Well, I barely know who she is. I knew her from reality TV just like I know these girls from reality TV. So I don't think she's above them in any way, shape, or form. Now, Diamond and Arkbar end up having a really funny back and forth with each other. Like, I'm sorry, this scene had me laughing the entire time because Arkbar starts saying how her face card is better than Diamond the Body's, and then Diamond the Body starts talking about the jiggles on Arkbar's arms, and so Arkbar takes her sweater off and she starts jiggling her arms around, and then Arkbar starts talking about how she feels like Diamond has a hard booty, and so Diamond jumps up on the chair and she starts shaking her booty around, and it was jiggling, okay? So Diamond immediately shut down the idea that she has a hard butt like some of the other girls do, but listen, it was a funny back and forth between the two of them, because then Akbar started saying that Diamond smelled bad, and other girls were laughing that was there, because this back and forth was just really funny to me. But Diamond the Body starts saying that she doesn't want to talk to people who look like a Q-tip, and that's when Arkbar throws the comment in there that she doesn't want to talk to somebody who's missing a tooth. And that tooth comment wants to really rub Diamond the Body the wrong way, because she reaches over the table and tries to swing on Arkbar, and then that's when Arkbar ends up jumping up and she's trying to grab stuff off the table to throw it at Diamond, and then all of a sudden she just spits across the room and it lands on Diamond. It is disgusting. Like, she had a lot of spit in her mouth because you could see it spray across the room. It was nasty, okay? I don't agree with that spitting shit. It's gross. I hate when people spit. It's so nasty. But then Diamond the Body ends up taking her wig off and she puts on Tinkerbella's sneakers because Tinkerbella let her use her sneakers to fight, and the two of them end up fighting 2 rounds with each other. And look, I definitely will say that I watched it twice and they definitely kept up with each other. However, Diamond keeps her head down too much, so it makes it look like she's losing. So I'm not going to say that she lost the fight. I definitely will say that, you know, Arkbar kept her head up and she hit Diamond the Body a little bit more than Diamond the Body hit her. But I'm saying it's a tie because they both kept up with each other and they were both landing hits on one another, so I'll give it a tie. Although Jayla, Anna, and Tasiki ended up having a conversation on the bus about this fight, and Tasiki felt like Diamond lost the fight, and Anna and Jayla were saying that they felt like it was a tie and they felt like Diamond kept up. I can understand why Tasiki was saying that she felt like Diamond lost, because she keeps her head down too much, and so it makes it easier for the other person to get control of her and to be able to hit her more, and that's definitely what happened in this fight between her and Arkbar. However, I wouldn't say that she got beat up or that she necessarily completely lost the fight. Now, back at the house, Pretty P and Emma are in the same room together, and Emma is opening up to Pretty P about how she felt like she almost got jumped by Summer and Dolly. And look, she did almost get jumped. She didn't get jumped, but she almost did. If Ivory was not there, she definitely would have gotten jumped, because Summer definitely was swinging and she was definitely going over there to jump into the fight. So had Ivory not been there, she definitely would have ended up getting jumped, although she was making it a bigger deal than what it needed to be, in my opinion. But Ivory and Biggie end up going into the room, and Emma starts talking to them about the situation, and Ivory makes sure to clarify that she didn't get jumped, but she almost got jumped. And then Biggie and Ivory start talking about how they did not like that they were not invited out with Natalie and the rest of the other girls, and Ivory was saying in her confessional that she felt like she should have been invited because she doesn't see a reason why she wasn't, especially because she just got her baddies chain. But she was kind of taking a little bit of a shots at Biggie about how she got left behind because she talks too much and she's too loud, and that's the reason why she didn't get invited. So I think it's safe to say that Ivory is not really feeling Biggie, because this is the second time in this episode that she said something unfavorable about Biggie. And Summer is also not feeling Biggie either, because in this episode they also show her and Dolly talking in the hot tub or whatever they were in, and they were talking about the whole situation, about all the drama that's going on in the house. And you know, Summer said that Biggie's one of the people that should go home. So I feel like a couple of the girls are not really feeling Biggie. I don't know why, because she hasn't really done anything to them, but some of them are not really feeling her that much. Now, Natalie and all the other girls end up returning to the Baddies house, and that's when Summer starts telling them everything that's been going on and all the drama that happened. And she starts saying in front of everybody, including Emma, that she feels like Emma is boring. And so Emma and Summer start going back and forth with each other, and some of the other girls ended up chiming into the conversation and saying that Emma sat up there and called out Scotty and talked about how boring she was, and now people are coming at her saying that she's boring. And I feel like, you know, Emma bit herself in the foot when she decided to make the comment about Scotty being boring and fighting her because of that, because since she wanted to say that Scotty has been boring every season, then that means people are going to expect Emma to be lit every episode because she made it a big deal that Scotty hasn't been. So she shouldn't have said that. I think people would leave her alone, because we know she's not scary. She will fight. So I feel like people would have left her alone had she not made those comments about Scotty. But since she did it, now people are using her words against her. And then Biggie decides that she's going to ask Natalie in front of everybody at the house meeting why she wasn't invited to brunch with everybody else. And Natalie basically made up an excuse saying that it was because Jaden and Arkbar was there, even though we know that's not the real reason why she didn't invite Biggie. She didn't invite Biggie because she wants to prove a point to Biggie. She doesn't like Biggie, and sometimes she feels like Biggie talks to her some type of way, so she wants to prove that she's the one that's in charge, and that if she doesn't want Biggie around, she can make sure Biggie won't be around. And I feel like that's what Natalie's trying to do. And I wish that she would just be honest with Biggie about it. Like, we all know she doesn't like Biggie. Just say you don't like her. And then Jaden and Biggie have a little bit of a back and forth because Jaden felt like it was unnecessary for Biggie to put her hands on her, even though to me it wasn't really a fight. Like Biggie was swinging with her head down and she barely touched Jaden. Jaden fell on the floor because of security, not because of Biggie. If you watch the fight again, Biggie wasn't even looking at Jaden. She had her head completely down, looking at the damn floor, swinging on air. Like they barely touched each other. It was not a fight. But the reason why Biggie took off on her is because she hit her with the flowers. If she wouldn't have done that, then Biggie probably wouldn't have even touched her at all because Biggie's not even a fighter. And Arkbar started saying that she doesn't have beef with Biggie. She just feels like Biggie should be defending herself. And so, I mean, that should be the end of the Biggie and Arkbar situation because honestly, I'm over the two of them going back and forth. We know nothing's going to happen and that they're not going to fight each other. And at the very end of this episode, Natalie ends up announcing that she has a surprise guest. And that's when Slim ends up walking into the room and she says hi to everybody. And then Rolly immediately jumps up and goes over to Slim and the two of them start fighting with each other. Now look, they ended up showing the previews of this fight for next week's episode, and Rolly was dragging Slim like a rag doll across the floor. But to me, that's not surprising because Rolly is a lot bigger than Slim. Slim is really skinny and small. So it's not surprising to me that Rolly was able to drag her like that because when you see Rolly fight people who are bigger or about her size, she can't drag them like that because they're not small. So that's the reason why she was able to drag Slim. But nonetheless, she was dragging the hell out of Slim. Now, I will give Slim props because even though she's small and skinny, she still fights and she doesn't say that she's too small to do it. Now, some people were saying that Rolly fought Slim because Slim was talking about her son. However, there are some people who said that Rolly actually spoke on Slim's dead father before Slim talked about Rolly's son. So that's the reason why Slim talked about Rolly's son. I don't know which one happened first. All I know is once you bring dead family members into a conversation and you bring people's kids up, that's when things turn ugly, and that's exactly what happened in this situation. So those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Baddies Midwest. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.